So, good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon, MiDNA family. Lovely to be here with all of you again, and nice to talk about oneself in one way. The other thing is, actually, I'm stumped. What do I talk about self-discovery? I finished one, I finished two, and in three, what do I say? What do I talk? So last 2 days, I've been breaking my head over this. And I realized that the more I introspect, what am I going to say? I find there are more things to say. And now I got into a problem of what to say and what not to say, how to restrict myself within 1 hour. So from getting stumped on what to say, I went to the other extreme. And that's when I realized that Ratnasamy sir's this whole practice of doing self-discovery is actually quite meaningful. And it does do a lot of connection. It does give a lot of internal connections, and it explains why you're doing what you're doing. So that is how I have discovered discovery for a third time. And once again, I reiterate how MiDNA has helped me to lead a more purposeful life. But before one can come to leading a purposeful life, actually one needs to be more aware of oneself. So self-awareness is the first step to self-discovery. So how does one get self-aware? What is self-awareness? Self-awareness helps you understand what you value and how you perceive the world around you. Once you have perspective on your own values and views, it is easier to accept that others may have differing values. This is the greatest part of self-awareness. This openness is essential for engaging authentically and effectively with diverse constituents. So unless we are aware of ourselves, how can we counsel others? How can we make them aware of what they are or who they are or where their problems stem from? Of course, we have a wonderful tool called genetic brain profiling with us, no doubt. But we need to go beyond that. And to go beyond that, beyond what the report says, we need to first get aware of our own selves, how our mind thinks, how our mind processes information, and what we make of the other person. Like say, for example, before I came into, I'm talking about something that happened in my life quite recently. I had nothing to do with LGBT community, and I was wary of them and never gave them a thought. Suddenly I had an opportunity to address a gathering of LGBTs. And initially I was a little hesitant till I told myself they are also beings like us, and they also have emotions like us. And actually it is other than their sexual orientation, they are otherwise normal people. And then once this self-awareness, self-realization came to me, I was able to be very comfortable in talking to them. So self-awareness is the basic first thing to self-discovery. And another thing, what self-awareness got me to do was, it made me become an author. I realized when I got aware of myself, I realized that whatever mistakes I had done in my past, during my children's upbringing, I should be able to share with others and help others learn from my mistakes. And that's how I came up with a book. And I can call myself an author now, though it's just, I think, one-time wonder for me, unlike Sunny, who's written so many books. But I'm glad that I made use of my time at home, and I was able to come up with the book. Now, self-awareness comes in various stages for us. If we take our life, self-awareness comes in various stages. When we are born, of course, when as long as we are with parents, nothing happens to us. Okay, life is very comfortable. We just carry on with life. Somebody pushes us and we get pushed. Suddenly, after marriage, things change. And then we realize that, oh, I'll have to adjust to another person. I'll have to adjust to a new environment. I'll have to adjust to new parents, new friends. So we become a little self-aware. A little about ourselves we come to know. We start saying, oh, I don't like that guy. I don't like this place. Things like that. When we have children, and later in life, during our middle age, when our children grow up, that's the second stage of self-awareness, when we realize who we actually are, when our patience is challenged, when we have to deal with a whole lot of opposition to whatever we say, the rules that we make, and how we react to it. That is the time when our self-awareness goes to a second level. And post-retirement, I would say, when we are jobless, is when our self-awareness takes the third level, what we do with ourselves. And here is when the real internal changes come. And for me, it happened after I joined MiDNA. Till I joined MiDNA, I considered myself a working woman, whether I was teaching in a college, a school or college, or whether I was with the corporate world training. But once I joined MiDNA and I gave up everything else, my self-awareness took one more leap. And with subsequent self-discoveries, I think I've gone deeper and deeper. So today, I'm going to take you through my report in a deeper sense. And as much as possible. And in my self-discovery 1 and 2, I spoke about nature and nurture. Whereas here, I'm going to concentrate more on my Ikigai. Now, Sir chose the term Ikigai to talk about our journey in MiDNA, about our training and our journey and finding our purpose. I think that's quite an apt word. All of us need to know what our real purpose in life is. And what does Ikigai mean? And can Ikigai actually change the way we look at things, the way we think life is? Can Ikigai actually make a difference? How can it change our life? What is Ikigai? For those who joined MiDNA of late, recently, I've just brought in this small definition of what Ikigai is. Ikigai is a Japanese concept that means a reason for being. Iki in Japanese means life, and gai describes value or worth. Your Ikigai is your life purpose or your bliss. It's what brings you joy and inspires you to get out of bed every day. A person's Ikigai can be anything, a passion, a dream, a mission. It could be anything. Okay. And Ikigai could also mean, it does not necessarily mean that, oh, I should, using Ikigai, I should do something great in life. No. Ikigai is more to give you personal satisfaction. And while getting that personal satisfaction, if you can earn what you love doing, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what can give you income, well, nothing like it. But even if it can't give you income, as long as it can give you happiness, if you can trade happiness for income, life will teach you that it's better to choose happiness, provided your basics of living are met. And I think most of us belong to that category where basics, we don't have to survive. We have gone above the survival mode. So it is important for us to understand ourselves deeply and identify our true passion that is sustainable, contributes to our personal growth, and benefits the society too. So once we know what is our Ikigai, I'm sure life will become much more joyful and the journey of life will become much brighter. Now, how is Ikigai connected to GBP? Why is Sir insisting on Ikigai? See, generally life is, for 90% of the people, there's some form of stress or the other. Even if we are not working women, bringing up our children itself is sometimes stressful. If the child comes with less marks, we are stressed. So some way or the other, we are stressed in life. Sometimes some ladies, even for that matter, some men, they just go through life without having any proper direction. Okay, now I'm supposed to go to college. I've entered a college. I'm supposed to earn. I've taken up the first job that comes my way. I'm supposed to get married. I get married to the first girl whom I meet, or arranged marriage where my parents arrange it. And then I'm supposed to have children. So I have children. Now I'm supposed to send the children to a good school. So I do that. And then, so life just goes on in a very automated, systematic way, where we believe our direction is that. We believe our direction is in taking care of our children. We believe our direction is in making sure that the children are clothed well, educated well, given a good life. And after all this is over, suddenly after retirement, what happens to life? Suddenly, what you believed was your direction is no longer there. Then it becomes a barren land. You're more like, so what happens? You're more like a passenger in life. And you're under everybody else's influence. Somebody says, do this, you do that. They say, no, no, join that course is better, so you do that. When in life do you live with the purpose? As long as you're a passenger, you will never be able to understand or realize what your purpose, or I can say my purpose in life is. And there are lots and lots of people like this. So genetic brain profiling is a tool which we can use to help people understand their purpose. When people don't know, what do I do? I'm bored. I've entered middle age. My children go to school. No, I don't know what to do. I had a lady like that. And I said, I looked at her GBP and I said, you've got wonderful, your fine motor skills are wonderful. You'd be very good with craft. She said, but I have a spastic child, not a normal, special child. So I spend my time taking care of her. Then I told her, why don't you put that child also into some handwork? And actually, she took my suggestion seriously, and it took her a year to understand what to do. And now she's opened a tailoring and embroidery unit. So I felt so nice. I was one of the first people to go and patronize a tailor, because I said, here is a person who was quite lost in life, and now she's found her Ikigai. Now, most of us go through life. Of course, there is no life without emotions. Yes, we all have to go through emotions, whether we like it or not, however much we are left-brained. But emotions is what makes life. And one important aspect of life is emotions. Now, to be successful, the Ikigai way, we need to know ourselves and the emotions that guide us. So what kind of emotions guide us? Or why do we feel the way we feel? This is where genetic brain profiling can be a big help. So GBP and Ikigai have a lot of connection, and we can know why we feel the way we feel, when we feel, and the reason for feeling that, if we know how our brain functions. So with this short introduction, I would like to tell you deeper about myself and my UID. Now my UID seems quite easy. A2, A2, C3, C3, A2, A2, C3, C3, A1, A2. Quite steady, right? Nothing much to it. No great innovations, no great creative thinking. And my life has also been like that. Very, very smooth. Nothing. Of course, I had a lot of, what do I say, adventures in life. I call them adventures because a lot of unexpected things kept happening in my life. One day was not like the other. It was a very interesting life that I've led. Like, for example, I have almost every year, I have changed my residence to another town or to another city. For those who don't know, I was married to an Air Force pilot. And in the Air Force, especially pilots get moved around a lot. And so every year almost, I moved bag and baggage with my kids and everything, went to a new place, new challenges, new environment, new settling down. But everything was such a great one set of adventure for me. Probably I took it as an adventure because of my adaptiveness. See, 40 to 60 is ideal and 54. So because my adaptiveness is ideal range, probably what could have been as a challenge for others was an adventure for me. And this nature of mine, I realized after I did my genetic brain profile. Others in the Air Force, I've seen ladies, used to crib a lot. Oh no, again, I've got posted. Again, I have to start doing all over again, packing, unpacking, and all that. But probably I never thought of it in those terms because of my adaptiveness. Now, you see another thing, being a right brainer and intuitive, but with high C in frontal, I could have been quite stubborn. Okay, C3 in frontal. I much later in life, I realized that I am actually a stubborn. But when I never realized that. I never had to ever fight for it. Probably because I always got my way, or maybe because I had an A in my prefrontal, my stubbornness got a little softened, maybe. And then nurturing by soft parents was there. Both my parents were very soft people. And intuitively, I knew when to be assertive. So probably I did not have to show my assertiveness, my stubbornness very often as a child. But yes, I was a little slow. I mean, having moderate processor, I was probably slow in showing my emotions, whatever emotions it was. So that also maybe contributed to me not appearing to be stubborn. I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it. Because I asked my mother, who's staying with me, as a child, was I ever stubborn? And she said, no, I wasn't. Then what is the meaning of the C3? I was wondering. C3 here and C3 here. Highly emotional, with a lot of adamancy, thinking. But she doesn't remember me ever being stubborn. Neither do I remember ever having to fight for anything as a child. So then I probed further, and it was an 8-page report. And talking to Sir, I realized how my stubbornness did not come out. You see here, my lobe-wise processing dominance, left temporal is 15.2. Now, this stubbornness, of course, this left temporal, very strong language and very, I would say, tight with my resources, or very strict about what I'm saying, all this did show its ugly head But at a time when my daughters were teenagers and they were highly spirited girls. So if they wanted something, now I had to put my foot down and I said, no, you will not have it. And actually, when I was nurtured, I was never denied anything. But somehow I ended up denying my daughters a lot. A lot means I did give in a lot, but what I thought was okay, I gave in. When I thought it was not okay, I did not give in. So the stubborn or the adamant streak in me came out of me much later in life. And probably this came out of this 15.2 in my left temporal, aided, of course, by my left frontal. And when I realized that probably I'm not being a good mother, that's when I enrolled myself for self-development courses. Whenever I came to India, I used to, those days there were some very popular self-development courses like Landmark and all that. So every time I came, I enrolled myself for that because I said, otherwise, I think I'm unnecessarily being stubborn and being rude to my own children. But after seeing my 8-page report, I realized that we fought wars at home due to my own brain design. Earlier, I used to blame the children. Why are they like this? Why can't they be more disciplined? Why can't they understand what I'm saying? Why do they need to oppose to whatever I say? Now, they were teenagers. So it was their will against my will. So probably I was a little, what word do I use? Immature in thinking that way. So, but after I saw my 8-page report, I realized what contributed to all that. See my left brain here. Left contributed to the strong words, while processing crossover contributed to high emotionality. So what happened? Here, see, left brain is strong. And when it comes to processing, lobe-wise processing, emotionality became stronger. So I was both high-strung and I was forceful in my way of talking. Of course, this happened only with my family members, only with my children, not even with my husband, not even at school with my school children. Why did it happen only with my children? Here, I think psychology plays a bigger role when we know our children are defenseless against us. When we know we can do whatever we want to do with our children and get away with it. So I was very strict with them. Later, of course, I realized I corrected myself and I said sorry to them also. And I said, I've given you all a horrible teenage time. But they, being children, being who they are, they forgot, no, you were never strict with us. But I remember every word that I spoke to them. Unfortunately, my long-term memory is also very good. Now you see over here, prefrontal is converging, and diverging is a little less. So though I'm only A in my prefrontal, but still, whatever I do with a lot of, what do I say, practicality, sincerity, all that, because of this converging nature. And frontal is 50-50. This is what surprised me. I said probably because of this is a major contributor where my converging and diverging are absolutely well matched. So C3, the crossover is happening so beautifully. So I said 15.2 here, and I'm sorry, 12.4, 12.4. See 12.4, 12.4. So this I find has been to my advantage. And it has not allowed me to go out of bounds in anything. It has allowed me to live within the boundary and allowed me my emotions, but never allowed me to have too much of emotional outbursts. So probably because of that, I enjoyed good relationships. Though I remember how harsh I was with my children don't seem to remember that. So this itself, I feel, is thanks to this well-balanced frontal of mine. So if you see over here, my balanced thinking under all circumstances. So in spite of high temporal, no damage in relationship. My frontal advantage is C3, 24.4 and 24.4. I'm sorry, 12.4 and 12.4. Now, attachment to family helped and allowed me to be mellow during high family dramas. Not that my house ever had any less dramas, but somehow the dramas always ended in a very non-dramatic way. I've been good at organizing events and functions with everybody's cooperation. This again, I feel, is because of my balanced frontal. Never left anything half done and could understand the workings of others' minds easily. So I think the biggest boon of my UID is a balanced frontal, where emotions and all the sequential thinking, logical thinking, converging thinking, and on one side, my emotions and my feelings on the other side, my relationships, everything was completely balanced. Probably my life has been smooth because of this, in spite of so many physical changes in my life. Let's see another aspect, another lobe, the parietal lobe. In the parietal lobe, A2 is not high in energy, right? So I have 9 and 7.6. But surprisingly, for those who are new to MiDNA, I was more interested in sports than I was in studies. And all along, right from my school days, in my high school, I was in the school netball team. In my university, I was in the basketball team. In fact, I was the university captain for basketball. I was the college captain for the hockey team. So I was always more interested in sports than in studies. And this is in spite of being low in my parietal lobe. So I asked sir about it. Of course, environment played a huge role, since because of A2, probably I got wonderful encouragement from everybody around. And I scored high in exams due to last minute preparations. Not that I was sincere about studies, but I was sincere about doing well, getting good marks, which I managed by honest means. And Sar's explanation was, due to strong temporal, I couldn't concentrate in class and chose sports as an outlet. Due to strong C in frontal, achieved in studies also. Now, this explanation made total sense, because ultimately, whether all the sensory lobes are working through the frontal lobe. And it's the frontal lobe that gives the determination, the adamancy, and the will to do. Finally, prefrontal helps, but probably it's a combination of both frontal and prefrontal that leads to achievement. So in life, I've had quite a few achievements in life. I mean, there's no point in listing all that. Achievements are there, it happens. But at every stage, at that point, I felt it was an achievement. My family felt it was a great achievement. And this in spite of my frontal being A2. So I think it's a combination of the C in the frontal and the A2 in the prefrontal. C3 and A2. The 4 lobes together is what has helped me with all the achievements. And nurturing, of course. Nurturing cannot be ruled out. Nurturing is a very, very important aspect. The same A2s in the prefrontal may not have performed well if adequate encouragement was not forthcoming from parents, from this environment, and from your college or school or wherever you study. So nurturing plays a major role. And that's the message I want to give to all counselors, that when we look at genetic brain profiling, we are looking at it with an idea of telling the parents how to nurture and how to tell them that neuroplasticity is happening all the time. Till we die, neuroplasticity is happening. And I can tell you this with complete confidence because my mother, whom I'm taking care of, who's 90 plus, about 2 years back, she suffered with a stroke. And that's when I shifted her to my house. And I thought now it's gone, she's going to get Alzheimer's and I'm going to have a lot of problem. But nurturing has helped her come out of it. And neuroplasticity is taking place. She's able to remember. Of course, she remembers her childhood past much better than she remembers what she ate yesterday. But her memory is improving day by day. So even at 90, neuroplasticity happens. So why should parents ever despair that will my child do well? Of course, your child will do well because neuroplasticity is a proven fact. So here you can see that my AQ is quite, it's the lowest. But frankly speaking, and I've told this to sir also, I have not been afraid of anything in life. I am a little slow. I take my time, but I'm not afraid. And even self-doubt, very rarely I get. So there again, sir said it could be due to nurturing. Of course, creative quotient is low, so I don't claim to be a highly creative person. Yeah, work given to me, I do to the best of my ability. And some bit, since my right occipital is a little on the higher side, some bit of creativity creeps in once in a while, that's all. But my SQ is not very high again. Okay. So this I would like to take as an example for nurturing. My spiritual quotient isn't high, yet I always wanted to help people. And this must be because of my nurturing. Caste and wealth made no difference to me, and I'm willing to forgo personal comfort for others' sake. All this is due to nurturing. So it was never something, a big deal with me. I could look at everybody as equal. Later in life, I'm talking about as a child, it's later in life I realized that thank God I have that attitude. So neuroplasticity in spirituality has brought me to MiDNA, and finally I'm living a purposeful life. So all this while, before coming to MiDNA, I had a satisfying life. I had an adventurous life. I had fun in life. But the purpose, yes, I had fun in teaching, fun in dealing with people. But the purpose with which I'm living now is far greater, where I believe, yes, I'm actually making a difference in an individual's life. Just like a doctor, actually a doctor's difference is tangible. Here, the difference that we make as counselors is intangible. We can't see, neither can they realize. But later, when they come back and tell me that, yes, a person whom I had counseled 3 years back comes back and says, you helped me then, that makes me feel nice. So this is the purpose that MiDNA has given me and genetic brain profiling has given me. So I would like to tell you all this. Be resourceful. Resourcefulness is something that has, I would say resourcefulness is equivalent to spirituality. Self-awareness is equivalent to spirituality. Because when you are resourceful, when your mind is weak, any situation is a problem. When your mind is balanced, any situation is a challenge. And when your mind is strong, any situation is an opportunity. It's all about your mindset. And in my life, I have always made use of opportunities which came my way. Every little posting, after 6 months of unpacking and settling down, we would get news that we have to move bag and baggage. But I felt there's something nice waiting for me the other side. And I'm sure there's an opportunity. And when I went with that mindset, I did find an opportunity there. So that's how all my life I have made use of opportunities. Where I could enter college, I entered college and studied. Where I could do correspondence course, I did correspondence course and studied. Where I could work, I worked. Where I could work and study, I did both. Where I could take care of my family, I did that, in the sense, take care of my mother-in-law or get my mother over to stay with us and take care of her. So I found life full of opportunities and I made use of it. So resourcefulness is a quality. If we cultivate that, we will be definitely in a happier state of mind. Now with this, let me now take you to a few brain profilings that, I felt there is something that I can share with all of you, like what I've shared with my own profile. This is the profile of a 35-year-old spastic cerebral palsy person. I had discussed about this person with Sir in the DDS session. And so I thought what I learned from his profile is worthwhile sharing with all of you. What happens when the self is the highest? Now, we all believe that self-awareness comes from high self, right? And so high self is actually a good thing, which is true. High self is good because it helps you to be resourceful. It helps you to be aware of yourself. It helps you to make the best use of the opportunity that comes to you. All that happens with high self, yes. But in this person's case, the high self, just see how it turns. Now, what is cerebral palsy? A congenital disorder of movement, muscle tone, or posture. It is due to abnormal brain development before birth. So, you see this photo. This is not his photo. This photo we've taken. Rinki helped me take from the internet. This is somebody else's photo. But this is how a cerebral palsy person looks like. He can't walk. But this person, he has managed to overcome his physical problem to a large extent and can walk almost normally now. His one hand is a little like this, and he walks with a little tilt, but from not being able to walk, he's walking and he's leading a near normal life. Actually, more than normal life. He runs a business, he does everything on his own. And he's got high energy in parietal, high intuitiveness gives him a lot of inner strength, and he works on himself relentlessly. Okay, so his parietal is high. You can see how it is one of course, frontal is high, temporal is high, and next is parietal. Parietal is high. And kinesthetic, right from a young age, he's been an active boy. His intuitive is so high. So intuitively, he knew he had to manage his life. He had to come out of his handicap. And that gave him a lot of mental strength. But what happened after that? Okay, he got out of his physical disability and he started walking normally. Now he's near normal, wants to lead a normal life, wants to get married. The high convergence in prefrontal and frontal is not giving him the softness required to maintaining relationships. Now, Rinki has been counseling him, and he's her friend, and she wanted to help him. But she's not able to break the wall that this boy has built around himself. Look at the wall that is being built by the high converging. His prefrontal is converging, his frontal is so highly in converging, so high. Now, when his thinking brain and his executing brain is so high in converging, where is he going to allow anybody else to influence his thought process? So he's not going, in spite of his self being high, he will not realize his own shortcomings. Normally, self-high people will be able to introspect and will be able to say, even if they can't realize, if somebody else brings it to their notice, they'll be able to understand. But this man has not been able to understand. And after Rinki counsels him, he says, yes, what else do you have to tell me some more about myself? That's how unaffected he is. That is, I think, coming from this high converging in his prefrontal and his frontal. Though his people skill is high in MI, he is totally immersed in himself, with the frontal being the most powerful and highest in converging. 71 to 28. Look at the lopsidedness. That is why he's not allowing any kind of emotion to disturb the one-minded mindset that he has. He's not allowing anybody to enter his mind, to let him know where he can improve himself. So he's in search of a life partner and is frustrated because he's not able to impress anybody. There is no softness about him. He is, probably he believes that he's open, but whatever tactics he's using is not impressing others. He's not making a proper impression. He's 35 years old and he says, high time I get married. So this is the other side of having high self, but too much of converging in the frontal and the prefrontal. This is an observation I wanted to share with you all. Now, I'll go to the next slide, which is about relationships. Okay, how relationships can be marred. I told you about my own self, but probably I would give the credit to my frontal, which had a very balanced way of thinking. So I made no long-lasting damage to my children. Both my daughters are doing pretty well in life. Let us look at this UID of a mother. C3A1, C3X, C3, C3X, C3, 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 A1, A1. Highly short-tempered and no patience, is a teacher and has got into trouble with the authorities. She's Vidya Devi's friend. And Vidya Devi has helped her to come out of difficult situations, being her colleague. So that's how many times she's got into trouble with the school authorities. Because of C3X in left parietal, the energy in right is more. So she uses her hands more to show anger. C3 in temporal is high emotions and strong language. So C3X in left frontal is not going to make her think logically and will give more energy to feelings. So you see how both the sides, she is like a what do you say, matalam, no, from both sides she's getting it, like a damru, where she's got in left frontal is not going to make her think logically, and temporal is also going to raise her emotions. So due to these reasons, she is in need of a lot of help. Luckily, Vidya Devi has been helping her and she's going to continue helping her. So that's how this was a recent, just a few days back, Vidya and me were discussing this scan. That's why I thought I'll bring it to everybody's notice today. And see her processing is also moderate. So she's going to take time in understanding about herself. So even when people tell her, bring to her notice, she's not going to accept it very easily. And if you can see, her strongest lobe is the temporal. And in the temporal lobe, it is the emotions that is stronger, 80 counts, and 74 counts is the left temporal. And the next strongest is the frontal. Again, her right frontal is higher than her left frontal. So she is in for a lot of changes she requires to consciously bring to her nature. Though I can see myself in her with high frontal and high temporal, but luckily, I don't know why I never got into any trouble either in school or in my workplace or at home or with relatives. So the only reason I can think of is the balance. But she doesn't realize the harm she's causing her daughter. Now you see, she's got high everywhere. Logic, word, self is high. That's why she's a good teacher. Probably that's why the school authorities have not asked her to leave, because she must be a good teacher, though her people skill is low. But she's got stuff in her. But what happens with her daughter? With her daughter's this thing is A1, A1, C3, C1, A1, A1, C3, A1, A1, A1. So with her daughter being more intuitive and no X, okay, the child does not retaliate and has become very subdued and quiet. The child also has moderate processing. So Vidya says the child is very quiet in class. She's very subdued. And actually, she need not be a subdued child, because her nothing, she does not have any R's and all that. Okay, C3 in frontal, C3 in temporal, actually says that she's not a very submissive child. But this child is submissive. In reality, it is because of the nurturing. She's only 7 years old, though right frontal is C1, it's got higher energy, so feelings will dominate. See here, right frontal is C1, but the higher energy is more in the right frontal, though the left frontal is C3. So even though her adaptiveness is higher, soon she will start shouting back, as both her left frontal and left temporal are C3. So now she's subdued. I wouldn't be surprised if a child like this suddenly comes out and goes the other way, completely subdued, completely rebellious. So there are, unless the parent changes her parenting style, this child in all likelihood will become a total rebellion. Now, let me take the example of another case of a husband and wife. Okay, this is again a relationship issue and with a lot of excess. Look at the husband and the wife's UITs. Husband's is A2, A2, C, X2, C1, C3, 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 A2, A2. And the wife's is C2, A2, X3, C3, X3, C3, C3, C1, C3, C1. What a lot of, what do I say, patakas will fire in that house. And both are in the creative field. Both have X's and both are extremely creative people. Probably because of the creativity, their they must be deriving so much of pleasure from their creativity that they are willing to forgo and forgive each other for their outbursts, for their non-understanding or anger issues between each other. Both highly emotional and stubborn, both strong in languages and speech, both successful in their fields. Though they have problems, their marriage is still working because husband has A's in prefrontal and occipital. I believe this is what, I don't know, sir must validate what I'm saying. This is what is softening the husband's stand. Though the wife has so many C's, the husband, his normal behavior is he avoids confrontation mostly, though they are very close professionally, and professionally they help each other. They consult each other. They are writers, they are actors, they do everything. Okay. And, but when it comes to other issues, they are at loggerheads. And most of the time, the husband distances himself from the wife where the children are concerned, where the running of the house is concerned, and all that. This could be because of his A2. Generally, A2 people will say, let me get along with everybody. Let there be peace. Let there be superficial peace. Even if it is superficial, let it be peaceful. So I feel it could be due to this reason that their marriage is still sticking, and they have, and the children, they have 2 children, and it's still going on. So with this, I think I have spoken enough about relationships. I have spoken about nurturing. I have spoken about Ikigai. And I have said how important it is for us to start our journey with self-awareness. In our journey, we discover that there are many facets to life and relationships. It's the sum total of them all that makes our personality and determines the quality of our life. So relationship is the most important thing in life. Even if we have no money, it doesn't matter. Even a poor man can be happy. Ultimately, we earn for what? For our happiness, right? And what gives us maximum happiness? Good relationship. Good relationships with everybody around, peace around. Our health will be okay. We'll manage with whatever little we have. We'll manage in one room, but we'll manage with just one meal a day, but we'll be happy. Happy living through discovering your true nature is what is Ikigai all about. Ikigai is no doubt you earn if you are passionate about something and you are willing to spend your time in it and it helps people. Well, you found your Ikigai, you're good at it. But actually, happy living is through discovering your true nature. And once you know your true nature, then you can follow Ikigai and help people around and manage to earn a living. So with this, it's exactly 5 o'clock. Sir, I rest my case. I hope I've done justice to my self-discovery 3. Thank you. Thank you, friends.
Thank you, Bhuvana. I think very nice presentation, and I think many family members would feel a lot of learning has happened. I think, like a school teacher, you taught everyone how to understand and very simple way put across, and you explained everything that you have observed in your personal life as well as in the client's report. Now I will invite the family members to just give your feedback, and then we will go into the polling option, and then I'll give my conclusions. Okay. Yeah, anyone would like to give a feedback, you can unmute and speak.
Good evening, ma'am. It's Bartika.
Hi. Hi, Bhatika.
Ma'am, my first compliment is like you are looking very pretty, just like Goddess Saraswati. And I love your blackboard and chalk theme, your presentation, as you were a teacher. So I thought that was the reason you chose this theme. And presentation was really very beautiful. And there were many things that I could learn from your presentation, and especially the flow, the way you have explained in a nice and composed manner. It was really wonderful. Thank you so much for this presentation. I have learned a lot.
Thank you, Bhatika.
Thank you, Bhartika.
Ma'am, happy evening, ma'am.
Hi, Bhupal.
Ma'am, Bhupalan here. It was super on this, ma'am. In fact, the amount of and the effort you may put for the picture selection, ரொம்பவே நல்லா இருந்தது. Especially you say no the balancing of the heart and mind, which is the and the frontal lobe. So it was cool. Journey Mari, you just taken this entire session, the phase by phase, like the nurturing part or it's being the part of the relationship. It was absolutely a treat to listen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bhupala. Yeah, anyone else?
Yeah. Wonderful presentation.
Namaste, Bhuvana madam. Hello.
Yes,
Am I
Ravi, sir.
audible?
Yeah, please.
Yes. Yeah, as sir said, it's a kind of tutorial. We were learning many, lobe-wise very neatly explained. It's a great learning. And it was really interesting part that how that the cerebral palsy, the boy, who our man has been made to realize his the brain profile, and which gave him a chance to even become normal. That's a great learning which we have to share it with some of the children who are facing this type of problem. And you truly just made it in such a way that in a different level, that how this GBP has transformed your life, and also how this making you to realize that how you should have handled your children. All those things is a great learning for the young parents. It's a wonderful learning, madam. Best wishes to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Raisa. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Bhuvana. Hello, sir. Good afternoon, everybody.
Yes.
Hi, Idka Chand.
Anyway, very measured presentation like Bhuvana has been, and I'm actually seeing her evolving since I know her, since what, 2014 that we met, Bhuvana. I can actually see the evolution in your personality and your communication. I mean, I'm much younger than you, and I should not be the person to say this, but over time, and today's presentation was so measured, so compact, and so connected, with your learnings, with what you've observed, with the help of your, counselors or consultants, the kind of help that you're giving to this couple, the young man, etc. So connected, measured, compact, and so much of deep learning, but delivered so skillfully and so quietly. So I'm seeing a lot of quietude, all that depth coming through, a lot of quietude. It's not loud, it's not voluble, but it's so measured that it makes that kind of very quiet impact. So I actually see a lot of evolution in the way you've grown time we knew each other, and since the time that we know each other, and obviously how much GBP has contributed to that surge, if I may say, in your overall personality and demeanor. So all the very best, and keep growing. And I hope to grow with you too as a team. But thank you so much for taking us through all of this. And thank you always for being encouraging and supporting and pushing me. Thank you.
I was going to say, I hope so too, Leela.
No, completely. As always, my heartfelt, best wishes for you. And whatever I say comes from my heart, not because I just want to say something nice about you.
Thank you, Leela. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Leela. Yeah, anyone else?
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, Bhuvana man, I've always been a big fan of all your sessions. I find you very inspiring, and I simply love all your sessions, the way you present, besides the presentation, the flow that you go in, and enough has already been said about it, so I won't repeat. But an awesome presentation, the entire session, we all enjoyed and learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so I think if there are no one else to speak, we can summarize the session. Yes, Bhuvana, I think
I
you
just
have-
want to say a thank you. Besides thanking you and everybody else in the family, and a special thank you to Rinki and Vidya Devi, because I have very useful, fruitful discussions with them, which helps me grow also. Thank you to both of them.
Yeah, that's nice of you. And I know they are all being nurtured very kindly and carefully. Whatever they are learning, I think they'll relish for their lifetime. Yeah, somebody is wanting to say something. Yeah, Rachana is there. Is that muted? Okay. So, so yeah, coming to the end of this session, my comments would be really your session was nice, and as you said, self-discovery 1 and 2 and 3. But I think you did present some of the learning experiences. I know you have had so many transforming parents and children who came to you, and I must tell you, many for many family members. Bhuvana has been working all over India with her flying scanner. So that's an example. That's a motivation for many of the family members that if you are willing, if you are putting in yourself, I think lot of work can be brought in, and you can have a great experience. So with her moderate processors, she has been traveling all over India. In fact, even some of the outside India also she has done some scans. That only says that if you are willing to open up, sky is the limit. You can do a lot of work. So I should thank and appreciate Bhuvana for being a great inspiration for many of the new members who are coming in. And as far as your interpretation is concerned, I think they're all very exactly, very rightly connected with. There's no debate and discussion about it. As far as your report is concerned, I think you very rightly said the frontal lobes being exactly the same is taking care of most of your experiences in family. Please remember, frontal is family and prefrontal is professional. That means how you grow when you meet new challenges, when you meet new people, how you will handle. It also includes people who are elder to you, people who are experienced than you. All of them, you use your prefrontal, that is the effective. So you would never have any conflict with your parents or in your workplace, you are reporting authorities and all, because your prefrontal is effective, and especially your left prefrontal is powerful than the right. So learning something new, showing what you are good at, impressing people with your performance, they come much better because your self smart is better than your people smart. So you know what you are made of and how to give your best. So you have a self awareness fairly good enough, and also you work on your skills without giving up, without getting irritated, without having any biased way of looking at it. So the frontal balance is the key, and you very rightly said that is your magic that has defied all that we talk about. The process being very strong and moderate and all. That is the reason I personally think when you started becoming the boss and your children are your subordinates, I think there you have expressed, you used your frontal more rather than your prefrontal. Because with your children, you don't need to use your prefrontal because as a mother, as a person who is taking care of the home, family, domestic. So those who are taking care of the domestic requirements and all, you use more your frontal and temporal lobe. And because both of them are cognitive, you could have appeared to be little stubborn and stiff and disciplined and not letting just things to go out of your hand. More like I must take care of them, otherwise I would be called as a mother who did not care for the children. So somewhere you felt that you need to take care of them. So the message for others is, if you are moderate, you are a boss for your subordinates. But if you are fast, you are boss for your boss. It's kind of, I know more than you kind of mindset. So it will reflect more in the professional area, and the frontal lobe is more in the domestic and personal, where, what you can get is home management and relationship management, like that we can say. Okay, so that is how your profile has worked. And you very rightly said that diverging is more in the temporal lobe. So it has always given little more importance to the family, the gender, the children, the emotions, and a little more. So your frontal lobe being balanced and your temporal lobe being slightly on the right side has made you a great mother and a great daughter. And I think because of your nurturing, both parents were softer, and both your husband would have been professionally so much engaged. You would have given a lot of freedom for you to take care of the children, and also you felt more connected with your domestic commitments and your boss at home kind of roles. I think you have enjoyed. So there was no conflict. When the husband is more professionally focusing and the mother is more domestically focusing, it is like an international and domestic. So I think both of you could have been more focused on different domains. That would have been a reason why you got enough freedom to express your frontal lobes and the temporal lobes at home. And I think because you are a hard worker and self-smart is better, you have done your professional responsibilities also very well. So I would say your social is good and your self-smart is good. This is a good combination for people who would be doing well in their personal front and would also do on the social front. So your personal front and social front has done a good job or a well-balanced activity. I think that has been a key for your personal life experience. And I think you are being very feeling-oriented person because of the right temporal. Your right temporal, because of the diverging is more, your belief system, believe in God, and probably the family values that you have been inculcated, all of them have indirectly worked your spiritual quotient as well. So though many people would have a strong temporal lobe, but if the family is nurturing, like I have seen, you never miss any morning rituals and prayers that you do. I think somewhere it has helped you to groom yourself into a high spiritual person as well. So some people have an inborn spiritual quotient. Some people nurture it with their family contribution, the parents' contribution, and some rituals you follow. And thereby you want to be very honest and useful to people. So these qualities which we consider as a spiritual attributes have been well identified and groomed by your the discipline at home and some of the rituals that you have been very religiously following. So my dear friends, religion is a belief system and spiritual is something, an explorative system. But if you can work on your spiritual religious process very honestly and sincerely, I think somewhere it will indirectly help you to enhance your spiritual quotient as well. And I think the way you are taking care of your mother and taking care of your responsibilities, in spite of being so much engaged on your personal front with commitments, your interest to do genetic brain profiling to the fullest potential is something I take it as a great quality in you, and my sincere support and I would say blessings for you to go ahead and be a great example for MiDNA Global's family. I'm sure one day it will happen that everybody would come to you for getting some clarity on certain basic things that they are looking for clarity. I think you are an excellent teacher. I know it, and you have expressed it. You have done it once again very well. So in network, there can be many mentors who are probably strong with prefrontal, but I think you are a great teacher, and that's discipline plus in-depth understanding. So for depth, I think you are a great source for people to connect with, and I'm sure with your experience of nurturing the newcomers, it would be a great asset for us to be in taking your help as well. And I have been always telling to Sunny that moderate processes will enjoy lot more, lot easier, lot well connected with Bhuvana, because she goes step by step systematically. She starts from scratch only. Anybody who goes to her, whatever you know about genetic brain profiling, she doesn't bother about it. She starts from the scratch. And I think all those moderate process should prefer Bhuvana, because she would answer your basic questions with a lot more patience and clarity. And that's where I think she can be a great coach and a mentor for those newcomers who are taking more time to learn. I think they would find Bhuvana being at their pace as well. So that's the advantage for everyone, and I'm sure we will all be blessed to have you around us, so that the newcomers learn a lot from you, and then they reciprocate, they apply in their profession as well. So once again, I thank Bhuvana for taking this. Now Priya's next turn is Priya's, because we go by the core team has to complete their self-discovery session. So I think now next one will be Priya Chavda, and then we will go with other members of core team as well. Because once the mentors have completed their self-discovery 3.0, then I think Bhopalan is next on the line. So let us go ahead and complete this self-discovery 3.0, and then go ahead mentoring others to complete their sessions as well. So I once again thank everyone for sparing your time for this afternoon, and let us meet on another occasion, another day, with another session. Yes, thank you very much, Bhuvana. Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Right, let us take a break.
Thank you, friends.